Hi, my name is Mike. I'm a professor for social work management, and you are listening to Managing Around, the bi-weekly podcast about social science, culture, and management. Managing Around is part of the Talk About Organizations podcast network, a community resource and discussion platform for key ideas in management and organization studies, which is supported by our listeners. Today, we are going to talk about the importance of coaching in social work organizations. Coaching is a powerful tool that can help social workers develop their skills, improve their performance, and achieve their goals. It can also enhance their well-being, resilience, and motivation. But how can you implement coaching in your social work organization? What are the benefits and challenges of coaching? To answer these questions, stay tuned for this exciting episode of Managing Around. Let's get started with the first of our 3 questions for today's episode. What is coaching and how does it differ from other interpersonal interventions? Coaching is considered as an important intervention method in the social economy. Coaching is especially used and understood in leadership development as the professional consulting, accompaniment, and support of persons with leadership and steering positions, and of experts in companies and organizations. This is a well-known definition from the German Association for Coaching and Training. In this sense, coaching emphasizes especially the aspects of self-education, self-development, self-efficiency, and self-actualization under constant consideration of the social organizational context. It can be distinguished from other related interactive intervention forms by the following criteria. First, compared to training, the technical professional competence of the trainers is less in the foreground, and specific behavior, knowledge, and skills are not primarily trained. Second, in contrast to consulting, coaching is not about a professional instruction and acceptance of the problem solving and concept development by the consulting person. Third, compared to supervision, coaching can also address groups of professional specialists in the social, educational, and health sector, but it targets not directly the development of intersectional and social competences of the supervisees. And fourth, coaching can be distinguished from psychotherapy by the fact that no deep psychological experiences of one's own life history, personality, or manifest action orientations are processed, and no methods and techniques are applied that require a regulated therapeutic training. Let's move on to the second question of this episode. How important is coaching for the social economy? Coaching has so far found its application in the social economy, among other things, both generally in social enterprises, in the public sector, in health and education institutions, as well as in cultural institutions. Krüger, in his text from 2021, points out that especially against the background of the COVID-19 pandemic, coaching opportunities are still regarded as important instruments for coping with current challenges and crises, especially in system-relevant companies in the public, social, and health sector. In a survey by the German Association for Coaching and Training in 2021, various topics were identified that have become particularly important to coaching. These are demographic transformation processes, such as related to age, diversity, or value orientation, digital transformation and digital literacy skills, the developments in the healthcare institution that are related to constant legal changes, and the increasing demand for nursing professionals, challenges in schools related to case management and individual consultation, leadership in social organizations, especially regarding the economic pressure, shortages of skilled workers, and generational changes, and also challenges in church organizations that were related to overload of pastoral staff, dependence on volunteers, constant reorganization and restructuring processes. Coaching, on the one hand, must not be reduced to an emergency instrument, but must be closely linked to the strategic objectives of organizational development. And on the other hand, can become standard at least at the upper management level in public and social service organizations, as Krieger 2021 points out. We now come to the third and last question in today's episode. What are the characteristics and goals of coaching, especially systemic coaching? Koenig and colleagues in their Handbook of Coaching from 2020 emphasize in this context that coaching is characterized by the following activities. First, the focus is usually on professional topics. Second, coaching represents an interaction between two or more people. Third, coaching serves to support problem solving. Fourth, coaching can be directed at process or expert question. And fifth, coaching represents a form of professional action. And systemic coaching in this context, as a special form, finally represents a specific approach that sees the goals, the concerns, and the expectations of the individual people involved in the coaching session. We call them the coachees. And I quote from the handbook from Koenig and colleagues from 2020, systematic coaching means supporting another person to view the situation from the perspective of the social system, to develop new courses of action on the basis and to further develop oneself. End of quote. Finally, let's summarize what we have learned in this episode of Managing Around. We have explored the concept and practice of coaching, especially in the context of the social economy. We have learned that coaching is a professional and interactive intervention method that aims to support individuals or groups in their self-development, problem solving, and goal achievement, while taking also into account the social and organizational environment. We have also learned that coaching differs from other forms of interpersonal interactions, such as training, consulting, supervision, and psychotherapy, by its focus, scope, and methods. Furthermore, we have discussed the importance and relevance of coaching for various sectors and fields in the social economy, such as public administration, healthcare, education, and cultural institutions. We have identified some of the current challenges and opportunities that coaching can address in these areas, such as demographic transformation, digitization, organizational development, and crisis management. Finally, we have introduced the concept of systemic coaching, which is a specific approach that helps the coachee to view their situation from the perspective of the social system and to develop new courses of action and self-improvement. I hope this podcast has given you some insights and inspiration for your own coaching practice or interest. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. Managing Around, the bi-weekly podcast about social science, culture, and management. Managing Around is part of the Talk About Organizations podcast network, a community resource and discussion platform for key ideas in management and organization studies, which is supported by our listeners. If you liked this episode, please leave a review on your favorite podcast website. There's also a link in the show notes. If you've got any thoughts on this episode, or if you've got any idea about new podcast topics or questions you'd like to discuss, send me an audio file or voice note to hi@profmanagement.de. For any non-audio comments, drop a tweet or DM to @profmanagement on Twitter or Instagram, please. For more information, visit my website www.profmanagement.de. profmanagement.de. Thank you for listening and see you next time.